Hey everybody, this is the first in a three-part segment. In this segment we'll talk about the problem and my proposed solution. In the second segment we'll talk about how I envision implementing the solution. And then in the third segment I'll show you my prototype and how to give feedback, how to send feedback back to me through email. So as college students, part of the problem is that we're sitting in lecture, and most of the time we're spending time jotting down notes, or we sit there and listen to the lecturer as they sift through PowerPoint slides. We just listen to what they say, and we get a feel for what the concepts are and what everything, what they're all about, but we never get a feel, we never get a sense for how all the concepts fit together. We don't get a big picture. Unfortunately, it's probably assumed that outside of the class it's up to us to put the big picture together, but we never do that. Let me just illustrate to you an example of why this never really happens. Here is an example of one of my notes, and as I remember reviewing these, I was probably as lost and confused as you guys might look just looking at some of this stuff. So this is from one of my electrical engineering classes, and this is from week 3. So these are notes from week 3. And the topic is active circuit elements. And so you guys know what integrated circuits look like. They have all these pieces on it, and this is just talking about one of those devices. Okay, so here we have an amplifier, what it looks like. It's got some input, output, and does some stuff. Okay, and then this is the model, how it's described in electrical engineering. Here is the input side, and on the next page we have the output side, and we have power amplification, basically what the device does. And then also in this notes we talk about more types of amplifiers. I'm going to describe with some more pictures and equations. And then we talk about an operational amplifier, and here's a picture and some more equations, and then we talk something about feedback. So that's an idea, and then in feedback there's the sub-ideas about positive and negative feedback. And that's it for that page. There's a second page, but you guys can get a sense for how overwhelming and how confusing it can get just by looking at these notes. It kind of places a linear way of thinking. And you guys probably don't know what I'm talking about, and believe you me, when I was reviewing this, I had no idea what any of this was talking about either. Okay, so let's look at the second day worth of notes. This is talking about analyzing operational amplifiers. Then we have its limitations, and then a sub-idea about oversimplification, a sub-idea about saturation. Then we have an idea of how to design circuits with operational amplifiers. So here's one type of circuit, a voltage follower, got some equations and some pictures. We can talk about the inverting amplifier, the summing amplifier, a non-inverting amplifier, and that's about it. So these are all the different types of circuits you can build. Okay, so you guys can kind of get the feeling that through these notes, because there's a linear structure, it's easy to get very lost in what the concepts are and their details. Okay, so one of the things that I guess I would say the good studiers do is they draw pictures. They draw flow diagrams or graphs, and they get to see how everything fits together. Most of us don't really do that when we're studying because I don't know, maybe it's a waste of time. So here is some of the graphs that I drew for these notes. Let me just minimize myself here for a second. Okay, so here we have an overview. We have this topic of circuit elements, and of course we're talking about amplifiers, op-amps, and circuit design with op-amps. Okay, an amplifier is the most important element. What does it do? It increases amplitudes of electrical signals. Then we have an op-amp. It's a special type of amplifier, and it can be combined to design circuits. Okay, so now what we'll talk now we'll break it down even more. We have a graph for an amplifier. So the amplifier here is a node for its picture, a model, and then here are the different here are the different topics for the model, and then we also have more amplifier types, and then that describes that. Then break it down even more, we have the operational amplifier. We can describe its characteristics in the model. We have the feedback, both positive and negative. We can discuss the analysis and discuss its limitations. And then we can have circuit design with operational amplifiers. We can design voltage follower, inverting, summing, transconductance, and non-inverting amplifiers. Okay, so great. We have graphs, we have pictures. We get a sense at a high level how everything sort of fits together. And can't find myself here. There we go. So now this is where we can start worrying about the details, okay? Because that's a more efficient and easier way. What you'll find in the next, that I will talk more about in the next segment, is that, okay, you have these graphs, but then what if there's a concept that you find more resources, different ways of describing, or better ways of describing? So you might have found a website or something from your textbook that helps you to understand the concept better, or maybe there's a video, or you know, other resources to help describe these ideas to make it more clear. And the problem is that, okay, you have these graphs, you have all these resources, and you have your notes, and you have your textbook, but there's no way to really combine everything together in one. And that's where I step in. I want to develop a website which can enable you guys to take all your resources, all your notes, and integrate it all together in one. That way when you're reviewing, it's you have everything in one place, and it's more efficient and effective way of studying, instead of having to sift through all these papers and go through this binder and that binder. And further down the road, you might even want to review this stuff after not looking at it for a long time. So now you'll have these pictures you can bring back and remember everything faster and more efficiently. Okay, so I hope that made things clear. If not, please let me know, and please watch the next segment.